DC here. Hi, guys and gals. Well, hope you're well. It's Monday, and on Monday, as you all know by now, I usually do tags, and this will be no exception. As you can see, or you probably can't actually, is almost all our snow is gone. We had last week a really big snowstorm. We had a lot of snow, and the last few days we've had like 13 Celsius. What is it now? I think it's 12, but it was 13 earlier. I think it went up to 14. So it's all melting. So I think, as I've said once in a vlog, we often have a snowstorm in November and then end up having a green Christmas, and probably will be no exception. Okay, anyway, but I'm not here to vlog. I'm here to talk about tags and tag questions. And today is Dave Nicholson's last Saturday tag, 7-question tag. Hi, Dave. Hope that you are well. So let's start with those questions. Question 1. How much do you believe in others if given a scale of 0 to 10? So I suppose 10 is I believe in others a lot or completely. Well, if we take human race as a whole, I'd probably be a 2 or a 3, because there's a lot of bad people out there, and don't ever forget how bad people can F things up, but there are other people, some of my family, some of my friends, which I would give a 9 and 10, which I really do believe in them. There's some people, that I know are completely trustworthy. So, it takes some really good ones to compensate for the really bad ones. What was it? It was one of my least favorite politicians. Well, I won't name him. I was just going to say he quoted another politician, which at the time had been his vice president, and said, never underestimate the ability of to F things up. So there's a lot of people, even though they're people that you have as your, I was going to say as people that are close to you, that just really always turn things upside down. Yeah. But like I said, the human race, probably about 3, and many of my friends between 8 and 10. Yeah, friends and family. Okay. And if you want to, by the way, I was going to say, if you want to, we're not making this a theological thing, but there's the goodness of human being and the worth, and that could be put into the equation, but then we're not doing that now. Question 2. What, according to you, is the worst crime? Oh, goodness. Taking life, I guess. And I'm not going to be very different, I think, from the other people that do the tag. It is true that taking life is one thing, but hurting innocent people, like a child, yes, that's part of the worst crimes. And even though I'm not, I was just going to say, even though I'm not an extreme animal activist, there have been cases of people torturing animals. I'm not talking about lab animals. This is another debate. But there have been, not too long ago, around here, a person that was put into prison for having, tortured animals, cats, for example, and some farm animals. So those are horrible crimes. When you basically go after innocent human or living beings. Yeah. And like I say, I am not getting into theological discussions. Just talking, from the gut right now. Question 3. What was your weirdest belief as a kid? Huh. Well, some people mention Santa. Some people mention the Tooth Fairy. I didn't believe in the Tooth Fairy. Santa was not something we really believed in. I mean, already young, didn't really believe in Santa. I mean, there was some type of weird thoughts that it could be, but no. Weirdest belief as a kid. Really now? Wow, I don't even know where to answer on that one. I think that as a child, though, I had. There were some beliefs, I mean, at the time, about a few weird people in the city that people would say were witches. And you know, the thing is that sometimes you believe, but that they were mean people. Now, again, as you know from my vlogs, I'm not going to. I have my belief system, but I said I'm not going to discuss, or I will not be discussing theology or stuff like that. But yeah, there were certain times when all I know is that these people were. We lived in the countryside, and some people knew how to place bones and do things like that. They were not healers in the traditional sense, but they weren't witches or warlocks in that sense either. I mean, they just knew how to. I was going to say how to bring people's, kind of like I was going to say chiropractors or what, without having any type of training or something like that. But you know, something like that. Okay. So what else now? Yeah, that's the closest I can get to that one, I guess. Question 4. Which one do you think has a higher chance to happen? A one-sided love or a two-sided one? Well, I guess in that respect, I mean, of course there's two-sided loves. I consider that I'm in that type of relationship. But, you know, I mean, how often does somebody fall in love with someone and the other one is not really in love, or you know? But I guess is that exactly what's meant? A one-sided love or two-sided one? Well, there's sometimes, of course, well, in an arranged marriage, for example, it might be a zero-sided love, but sometimes it's just a one-sided love because one person has been promised from the parents of another to. So those are one-sided loves. So in different parts of the world, I think one-sided love is probably a very common thing. I worked in my studies, in particular at Oxford and other places, with quite a few people from India, and they had arranged marriages, and they had no problem with it whatsoever. It was part of their culture, and they said that well, love was something that one worked at achieving, and they really had no problem with it. You know, they were not really into the idea, you know, of being starstruck with someone or something like that. So I guess that, you know, I would tend to say one-sided, and if you're lucky, and I hope that most people are, it'll be two-sided. Yeah. Wow, I didn't answer that one really well, did I? Question 5. Do you think it's okay to break your promise or take your word back if it can do more good to people than harm? That is not an easy one to answer, because, you know, once you've given your word, you've got to know that if you break a promise or, you know, come back on it, the person will probably never come back to you for something again because you've broken your promise. I've had a situation like that not too long ago, and I had promised when I shouldn't have, I had promised that I would, keep my mouth shut. And I was talking about the situation with Mrs. DC because we were both involved in one way or another, but she had not promised. But we both said, well, how are we going to get out of this? Because we realized that by keeping our mouth shut, we were creating actually a lot of harm. In this situation, we managed to bring things out in the open. And once they were out in the open, we were able, I was almost going to say, to release ourselves from the promise. And things are on the mend with those people. But I really think that if there was something that was extremely harmful, and I would, ethically, I think I would have to react and probably break the promise. But I would have to be really, really certain about that. It's not an easy thing to do. And actually, this goes to one common thing that's in Christian scripture, is it's not only just let your yes be yes and your no be no, but don't take vows for anything. Be wise and not be actually be wise, and don't just simply say I'll do it without thinking about what you're saying. And like I did that not too long ago, and it was a painful situation. So be careful. That tongue of yours is a bad weapon, and you got to know how to use that tongue of yours, because it's going to get you into trouble. That's 100% certain if you're not careful. What question was that? No, that was question 5. Question 6. Would you like to get acquainted with your own self if you were a different person with a separate entity? I guess me. Yeah, I guess I would, in a way. I think that the person that I am now is probably a relatively interesting person. People used to like to get to know me in the old days, because I used to be the one who would be organizing the parties and things like that, and probably the one who was paying the beer, or the drinks, and cooking the food and stuff like that. So I guess people used to like to know me for the things that I did. And with time, I've noticed that people, I've been told, like to know me for the things that I say, for the things that I do. And so I guess overall, I would like to get to know me. I first have to start knowing myself, wouldn't I? But isn't that another topic? Do you know yourself? Yeah. Okay. So let me see. Look at this talking head, and he's saying, "Do you know yourself?" Yes. Okay. Now we're in the last question. Question 7. What piece of advice would you like to give to your younger self? Believe in God, and if you are in love, be in love with a godly woman. Yeah. And you know what? If you do that, life will go well for you. Yes, it will. Yeah. And that would be the advice. And a lot of things would come from that advice. Live by the golden rule. Yeah. Those things. Yeah. And I see I'm up to 14 minutes, so I'm going to stop there. So I'll be DC signing off. Take care, everybody. Thank you, Dave. My goodness, I don't know if I've ever had a tag this long. Take care. Bye-bye.